Okay, Walter, I'm going to make a quick video. I decided, finally I got the vise sort of finished, and it's not perfect probably, but it works fairly well. It's 4 inches wide, and it's probably got about a 4-inch spread in the jaw there, so we can put a pretty good sized piece in there. Right now I've got it mounted tight against the shaper with 2 hold downs. I can actually put 2 more hold downs in if I need to, but I think 2 is sufficient. I can also mount it in the other direction, 90 degrees to what it is now, but it has to reach further to get to the jaws. Well, I don't know if it does actually, because the flange will be in the way, so that would butt against here. So that makes it about 1 inch back, but I guess it's 1 inch back anyway with this back jaw. Anyway, I don't know. This was just a chunk of steel, and I guess it's probably 1018. I don't know. And I cut one side off in the bandsaw, and both ends are cut off. But it has, for some reason, it has 3, original factory sides on it. So right now I took the bandsawed side and turned it up, and so anyway, I'm just going to attempt to square it up in the vise and see what happens. I don't know. I have no idea whether it's going to be able to square up in this vise or not. I mean, I've just got it clamped against the back jaw. Put a piece of welding rod or brazing rod up here, so I'm not really worried about. And it's just sitting on the bottom of the vise bed, so. The vise is not ground or anything, just milled on the milling machine, so I'm sure it's far from perfect. And I'm going to probably run this video for a few minutes and then and shut it off, and because this is going to take a little while so I'll run it for a few minutes, make some cuts, and then finish off and flip it over, and I'll keep putting the finished side against the back jaw. So I'll try to go around all 4 sides and see if we can get it squared up. So that's my plan, and this is the first attempt. With the vise is it's the smallest vise I had, as you know, was this little 2-inch vise. So I just figured it was too high. So this new vise is only, the jaw height is only 3/4 of an inch, and the overall height is about a 1/2 inch lower than this. So while I'm making this cut, I'm looking at the dovetail here on the front unit, and it's fully engaged. So I like that. It is fully all the way engaged, so that should work fine. I like the idea of having a vise versus the original 2 right angle pieces, which I was going to do, but I thought, well, to begin with, I'm going to make the vise because it's more versatile, and I think I'm going to like it better. So we'll see how it works out. So anyway, here we go. I'm going to make some cuts, and I don't know what I'm taking off. I'm not taking off very much, because my right shoulder is not that strong. So I'm only, and I think the dial is working fairly good. I think I came down on the top. I don't know how far out this is either. This was cut in the bandsaw. It may not even be able to, I may not be able to even do it. I think I'm taking about 5 thousandths or 6 thousandths off right now. I see it's cutting pretty nice. I'm surprised, but Anyway, let me zoom in a little bit, and we'll see what happens. I'm pretty far out now, so let me zoom in a little bit. Hopefully I have the work sort of centered in the camera. That's probably the best, about the best I can do right there. So let's see how that works out. I'm just going to make a few cuts, maybe go halfway across, shut the camera off, and finish, and then I'll rotate it, and we'll go through the same procedure again. This cut could be way off. In fact, I'm seeing right now that it is off, but it might be good enough to get a flat side here. I already see on the back edge I'm not hitting. So bandsaw is very inaccurate. So I don't know, and I don't know, you know, when I cut this off. It's been a long time ago probably. I just got it out of the scrap box. So you can see here on the back edge, it started out cutting making a full cut. Now it's not cutting on the back edge, it's just cutting on this edge here. So we'll see. Okay, I'm about halfway across. So what I'm going to do is finish out this run, and then go back and take another, I don't know, 5/1000ths or so off. I guess I should measure it, but now I don't want to take it back out of the vise again. So I guess I should have measured it to begin with, because we can probably take about 10 or 15/1000ths off with no problem. So I'm going to stop the camera right now, and I'll come back in a few minutes. So, okay, Walter, I'm bringing you back. I'm on my third pass because the bandsaw cut was not very straight. So I've come down about, I don't know, 20/1000ths, I suppose, altogether. And looks like I'm finishing this pass. I'm not sure if it's going to make it or not. It looks like maybe right here at the end it's not going to make it. So, but I may just live with it. It looks like the one little corner next to the vise is not going to make it. I'm not sure my arm can stand another pass. But I know I don't have much more to go. Well, I think looks pretty good except for this corner right here. So I'm going to leave it right now. So what I'm going to do next, I guess, is I'm going to take this out of the vise and break the edges a little bit. So when I put it back in the vise, I don't have any problems with that, because I like for the thing to come out to be square. That's my intention. But the vise hasn't been dialed in, nothing's been done here, so I'm not sure. You know, this is just my first test, so we'll see what happens. So I'm gonna shut the camera off now, and then I'm going to break these two edges over on the belt sander or something, or with a file, and I'm gonna flip it so this cut side is against the front jaw of the vise, and then I'm going to make another pass on this side here. So we'll see how that works out. Maybe the next pass will go a little better. Maybe these factory sides are not as far out as this bandsaw side. So I'm going to shut the camera off right now, and I'll bring you back in a few minutes. Okay, Walter, I'm back. So I broke the edges on the first side, and put it back in the vise, turned it 90 degrees, and when I clamped it, it kind of looked like it rocked up a little bit, so I am taking a pretty big chunk off right now. In fact, I think I'm taking about 10 thousandths off the front side, but I might be taking a lot more than that off the back side. So I'm going to make a few strokes, see how this goes, but I'm having to work at it now because it's taking a big chunk off. So I hope I don't break the clapper or something. I don't know how big a chunk I'm taking off. I'd have to go get the depth mic to see. Making smoke, I can see that. At least, maybe this time, I'll just be making one pass instead of three. But maybe I'm taking off a little bit more than I need to be. Uh-oh. That wasn't good. Okay, we're having problems. So let me see what I can do here. I need to go back out of here. Well, actually what I need to do probably is come up at least 5 thousandths. Now, let's see where we're at here. Looks like there it is. Okay. Alright, I got a big chunk of metal there, so I'm gonna break something here if I keep after it. So hang on a minute. Let me see if I can knock that little piece of metal off there. And I got something I can do that with. I'm trying to take off too much, I guess. If I can get, still, I doubt I can get through it here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to bring it up. There we go. All right, we're going again now. You know, it's not taking anything off the front side, and that's what I was afraid of initially, because I could see the piece of metal rocked up when I clamped it in the vise. So I'm going to have to make a couple passes in order to get this side done, and then I'm going to check it and see if it's 90 degrees to the other side. Okay, so I'll bring you back in a minute here. So we had a little catastrophe, but not the end of the world. So we'll move ahead. Boy, I got a big chunk right there, so I'm going to have to work on getting that off there. Alright, I'll bring you back in a few minutes, and I'll tell you how much work I had to do to get this fixed. Okay, Walter, I'm back. I don't know, I guess I can't really zoom in much more, but what have I learned from this pass? Well, first of all, don't take off too much, because if you dig in, it isn't easy to fix. So that's not a good thing. Also, this cutter here that I'm using is not nearly as forgiving as the shear cutter. So that's another thing. It digs in much easier if you try to take off too much. So, of course, there could be a lot in the grinding and the setup and everything else that I don't completely understand. So, I'm sure that, but that's not going to interfere with the original intent. I got some area right here that's not wonderful, but I'm not going to spend the time to go over it again. But right now it seems to be cutting. So that's one thing I've learned from this pass. So I'm sure every time I make a pass I'll learn something different. I also had some problem with the unit itself, and I guess this nut was loosening up over here. I'm not sure. I'm sure this isn't in the viewer, but one of the handle nuts was loosening up, so that was causing me some problems also. But other than that, it's going along just like it should. So it's just that when you dig in, it's not a happy time, because you got to go back over it to try, and you got to try to fix, you know, the spot. You got to take off more, so it's just not worth it. So it takes off. I mean, you can take off 10,000ths with no problem. Now, I don't know how much you can take off. I was trying to take off about 20,000ths to begin with, and that was just way too much. That's why I dug in. So right now I'm trying to clean up what I've already done, so I'm only taking off about 6,000ths. That's not much, and I'm not hitting any bad spots in there. So when I finish this pass, what I'll do, I'm going to see if I can figure out, I'm going to go over and break the edges again on the, I guess I'll just use the belt sander and try to break the edges. And then after that, I'm going to see if these two edges are square, these two sides are square or not. Maybe I'll just, we're almost to the end here. Okay, there we are. So we're to the end, and got a lot of swarp in here, so I guess the best thing to do is just take the block out. And I'm using some cutting oil also. I can tell my good side, my bad side, so that's got it. A little piece of rod out of here. The vise seems to be doing swimmingly well. I mean, it's working very nicely, so I have no complaints about the vise so far. Let's get a rag here, wipe this off. Let's zoom out a little bit. There we go. Oh, well, let me turn the viewer around here so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. Well, there's the first side I did, and you can see I don't know if it's right or left to you, but the bottom corner here is it was low, so I didn't bother to go over the surface again. And here's the second side I did, and there's where I had some problem in the center. You can see where it dug in. So that's what happens. And altogether I probably took about 20,000ths off that side. So I made a few passes on there to try to take this out, and there was another area over here where it dug in too. So that part wasn't good. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over to the belt sander and hit these two edges here, and then we'll look at it. I think somewhere here I've got a machinist square, so alright, so that cleaned that up. I just put a machinist square on here, see what it looks like. But that's you know, I need to put a dial indicator on it. But so we'll go down here at this end. Well, I tell you what, it doesn't look perfect, even with the square. Looks like it's off. I can't tell how much, but it looks like it's off. So I'll have to figure that out. A little hard to tell with that, but I would say it's far from perfect. So it's at least a couple thousandths out. I guess I can take a. This thing's I think it's a little bit less than an inch. So this is the factory edge over here, or the rough side. What we got. And this is the first side I cut. But that'll be off because I'm using the back jaw of the square, I mean the back jaw of the vise and not the bottom, so. Maybe this won't reach. Maybe it will. So 957 there. 957 there. Well, that looks okay. We got 965 there. Well, that's no good. But I knew that wouldn't be right. More than that there. So that's not wonderful. Well, I'm going to work with it and see what the problems are. See what's going on. Maybe I'll do one more side, and actually I should be able to put it in there this way, and it should sit against the bottom. I could check with a feeler gauge and see, I guess, see what's going on. I should be able to put this side against the bottom, this side in there, and that should sit in there pretty solidly. It might, actually. It's got to be a lot better than it was. Yeah, it didn't move, see? I didn't see it move, but that doesn't mean it didn't move. Yeah, doesn't look perfect. Maybe the vise is maybe I need to check the vise some more, see what that looks like. I think that it looks like to me that the jaw of the vise could possibly rock. It's fitting pretty tight into the groove, and it's screwed from underneath, so it shouldn't, but let me see, let me loosen it and see what happens. Let me see. Yeah, the back of the vise, the back of the jaw of the vise lifts up. So, well, I got to figure out how to solve that problem. Can't have that happening. Maybe I just have one screw on both sides. This is the most important jaw right here. That has to be right. I could put, I just have a number 10, number 10 cap head screw in there. So I can add more screws quite easily. Maybe I better add one to the right to the, I got one in the center now. Maybe I better add one to the front side here. And so that doesn't happen. Okay, Walter, I just wanted to show you the vise, and obviously it needs some work still. So, but it is working okay as far as the vise part is concerned. I think the movable jaw and this anchored part back here is probably just fine. I don't think we're going to have any problem with that. But this front jaw, I think I'm going to have to do something with that, because I can't have it moving. So anyway, I'll call off for now, and I'll see if I can splice these videos together, and I'll post it so you can see what's going on. I'll talk to you later. Have a good day. Bye. Okay, Walter, one final note here. I pulled the vise off the shaper base, and when I checked these cap head screws under here, they were loose. So they're tight now, so I think that might help quite a bit. When I tightened them, oil came squirting out the side here, so that wasn't good. And I also retightened these ones on the back too. So, you know, let me turn the viewer around here. I can't see what I'm doing. I shut the camera off and I decided to make this quick note here. So these two screws were just loose. They weren't loose, but they weren't tight. So I turned at least a half a turn on each one or so. And I tightened these up while I was at it. So that should help. I also think after that little fiasco that possibly I should sink another screw in the front of the front jaw, just to make sure, because I have plenty of room to do that. And that would definitely, if I put the screw over here in this side of the jaw, it would definitely, you know, help a lot. So had I just figured, since I had a tight notch in there, that this one screw would hold it, and it probably will. Actually, it's probably not a problem. The notch is not, but there's some play in the notch. I mean, there's a couple thousandths in there, you know, so that jaw could rock back and forth. So, and then when you got something, you're putting pressure, uneven pressure on this back jaw, that also is, you know, could cause it to move. So anyway, not a catastrophe, just something that maybe I need to look after. What I'll do after I completely sign off here is I'll put the vise back on and run another test run on the other two sides of that piece that I'm working on. I'll just keep using it. This is a 1x1 basically piece, so I'll do that and maybe square the ends up on it and see what happens. Also, I'll figure out some way to put this piece over on the test block and put a dial indicator on it and see how far out it is after I get things working here. So anyway, this will be the final sign off. Sorry. So I'll paste all these things together and get them off to you.